Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Score a 2 for $5 deal on a sausage McMuffin with egg and more. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
Whether it's baseball, hockey, soccer, or beyond, everyone seems to have an opinion when it comes to youth in sports. The best leagues to play in, the worst coaches that are out there, who to get chummy with to get your kid on the right team. It's like the sport has taken on so many dimensions and has become a game in itself, battling toxic behavior from the bench or the sidelines. I'm Melanie Ng, and in this episode of The Big Story, we take a closer look at youth sport culture and how the right approach can make a world of difference. Joining me for this chat is James Lowe, aka Coach Ballgame. James has built an incredible career both on and off the baseball field as a former Ivy League outfielder at Brown University and currently lead ambassador for Playball with the MLB, where he coaches and mentors kids and baseball enthusiasts around the world. James, welcome.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for having me. I need that on record. I want that introduction like daily. Wake up, let me have that.
Just play it from the speakers at your house for your family to hear. Yeah, no, I love it.
Loudly. I need my wife and daughters to hear that too. Yes, please.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining. And for all of our listeners, I've got to tell you, I've been following you for some time on Instagram. And one of the things that I love about you is your optimism and your positivity. And we don't always see that in sports, whatever it is. For you, baseball, but for, kids, parents, coaches, sometimes we get lost in the negative and the toxic. And so I really want to break this all down today. Let's start here, James. What got you to that positive space when it comes to sports? Because you've come out on the other side and if people could see you right now, you've got a big smile on your face. But how did you get there?
Yeah, I would have never thought injecting joy and common sense into youth sports would be novel. But that has become the case. A lot of anxiety, a lot of nerves, a lot of tension. My nickname was Smiley growing up. That was mine. As a young boy, I was either Jimmy Lowe or Smiley. And I just, I responded well to humor, and I really have a tough time accessing negative thoughts. It's just kind of how I'm wired. So a lot of golden retriever energy here, a lot of goldfish energy here. But I have to thank my parents. I had parents who their joy was always detached from my results, whether that was on the basketball court, football field, baseball field, even with grades in school. It was attached, their joy was attached to my character, my choices, my effort. Was I being a good teammate? So as a coach now, I've seen the dark side of it. I've seen parents yelling at umpires, coaches screaming at kids walking away from the game. And I think I understand the reason is the priorities are in the wrong place. There's a priority on winning a game as opposed to character development, love of play, life lessons. I feel like youth sports, the reason it was created was to build life lessons and to make great humans. I've been coaching for 21 years, over 100,000 kids. I've seen one of those kids make it to the major leagues, but all of them have become adults, servers of their community, fathers, and I feel like hopefully if I did my job right, they make good decisions today when they have a tough situation, whether that be in a relationship or at work. They lean on me and the life lessons I taught them. So I don't know when it got out of whack, but I'm here to help. And yeah, let's bring common sense and joy back into youth sports.
I love it. Let's rein this in. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode, to be very honest with you, is that so my son plays competitive baseball and hockey, and I've seen some of that bad behavior that you've described, and parents, yelling at young umpires who are no more than 5 years older than them, arguing with them and yelling instructions to their kids. And it really is it's this wild game. And you see the look on these kids' faces of disappointment, embarrassment, and all of a sudden they don't want to play. And their whole body, the body language just slumps. They play a different game. You talk to some parents and they'll say, well, this is me encouraging my kid, and they play better under pressure like this when I yell at them. But just from watching it, I can say that doesn't look that way. And for you who've done this for over 20 years, I'm sure, you're shaking your head saying, yeah, maybe not. So I know you've come up with a really great example, some great parents and some great coaches around you, a really great system. Unfortunately, not everyone gets that foundation. And so this is where we can break that bad behavior. I want to begin here. What about coaches? When your kid gets into a sport, what do you as a parent, what do you want to look for in a good coach?
Yeah, I especially if you're going travel ball or elite space, and this is not just baseball. This is in all youth sports. Go watch the coach run a practice, and go watch him coach a game. And if there are red flags, then run for the hills. You should be picky with your coaches. You're going to sniff it out right away if a coach is about winning games and chasing trophies. And I always say the cons outweigh the pros when you're dealing with a coach like that. If you've got a coach who has to win that day, then the culture is going to be, well, let's weed out the non-elite players. Let's overuse our best pitchers and burn them out. Let's yell at the umpires when they make mistakes because we have to win that day. But what we're losing is just the character development of our kids and what kind of brother and sister and daughter, son are they going to be? It really boils down to parents don't realize something exists until they see it. They don't know that you can prioritize joy, look through a lens of character development, and win games and win trophies and win championships. There's I don't know why, but there's an either or society out there where you're building them up for success, teaching them to win, or your participation trophy. You're soft. It's ridiculous. Couldn't be further from the truth. It's got to be a both and. That's just common sense. Kids play better when they're feeling joy. They play much worse when there's no freedom to fail. And I saw this as a young baseball player. My best friend came up to me in a big moment in a high school game and said, "Hey, James, how are you so clutch in these big moments? You seem to be loving the big moment." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" This guy was very talented, way better than me. I didn't know how to answer that. Now I'm 20 years older. I zoom out and I look at both of our dads. My dad was sitting behind the left field fence in a lawn chair with a 6-pack of Wild Cherry Pepsi, Hawaiian shirt, unbuttoned, just as relaxed as could be, and he could really care less about the win or the loss. Now, maybe deep down he was feeling it, but all I felt was, I'm going to love you unconditionally. If you go 0 for 5, if you go 5 for 5, we are going to have a talk if you argue with the umpires or you're not a good teammate. I felt that, but at no point was I afraid of the car ride home. Meanwhile, my buddy's dad, very well-intentioned, but he was ringing on the fence with his fingers right beside the dugout, micromanaging every movement, very overbearing. So you can't get lost in the moment in any sport where you're shooting a free throw or playing hockey. And hitting a baseball is really, really difficult. And if you are worried about what your dad or your mom's going to think on the car ride home, if you're afraid of a consequence if you swing and miss, good luck. It's hard enough as it is. So You got to create a culture where there's freedom to fail. And I posted a video recently. Why do parents get anxious at youth sports games? And 95% of the answers were, I just see how hard my kid works and I don't want to see them fail. Valid. I have 2 daughters. It hurts when I see them cry or when I see them make mistakes. But again, let's zoom out. Big picture here. The life lessons learned from processing failure, figuring out how to respond to it, overcoming it ultimately, way more valuable than winning some 8-year-old game, 9, 10-year-old game. But parents don't know that world exists until they see it. So that's why I go around the country and I show it to them like a Springsteen concert from one town to the next. Just come, pull up a chair and watch. I'm going to create a culture of joy where these kids are going to feel like they're at a birthday party. They're going to learn a ton because their mind is engaged, and they're going to perform better because there's no fear of failure. So, again, would have never thought it would be novel, but once I heard enough stories of kids quitting the game, just despising sports because of coaches or parents and the culture, the toxic culture, I said, I got to do something about it. So here I am.
Oh, and you're doing something, and the videos that you're referencing, I do encourage everyone, and we'll put your Instagram account on the description of this episode. I encourage you to go watch the kids' reactions, because as you described, James, they're really into it. They're having fun, and fun equals learning, and learning equals better, just overall character development and improvement. And so it really does come full circle, which seems so simple, but people get lost in it.
With McValue at McDonald's, you don't just get deals on the drinks. You get deals on McDonald's drinks. So when you're breaking a sweat, embrace the chill without breaking the bank. And when your crew is running on empty, keep your wallet full while refreshing the squad.
Ace the vibe check with drinks like lemonade, frozen Fanta Blue Raspberry, or any size drink for just $1.49. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You brought up something that I was going to ask you about, and it was the car ride home. That conversation for the car ride home, whether or not your kid performed to their best ability or they didn't. What do you recommend that conversation looks like? What are some of the questions you should ask or things you should avoid saying on that ride home? Because those are pivotal moments where those kids are in their head deconstructing the game, the match, whatever. Where do you start as a parent?
Cool. Well, I'll throw 2 interviews out right out of the gates just for your listener to track down. Jeff Daniels, a great actor, was having an interview and talking about the car ride home with his son in hockey. Go watch that. It's amazing. And then I have a podcast as well, Talking Shop, and there's an episode with a guy named Duke Baxter. And this is all we talk about is the car ride home. And I stole a few of his great ideas, but the general sense is create a two-way street. They need to be the one in the car going, hey, can we talk about the game, Mom and Dad? Why did I strike out 3 times? I'd like to know. I'd like to get better at that. They need to be the one knocking, hey, can we go practice in the backyard, Mom and Dad? A lot of times we are so invested in the results that as soon as the door is closed, we are letting them know how smart we are and how much we know, and you've got to let it sit. I think 24 hours is a good time period to just let things decompress, especially after a bad game or something like that. So the first thing I'll say is, before the game, let your child know, I love watching you play the game. That means a lot. That doesn't mean I love watching you win. That means I love watching you win, but I also love watching you lose. I love watching you succeed. I really enjoy watching you make mistakes, because those are the only times we learn. Incredible opportunities to learn. So creating that culture of winning and learning, not winning and losing, That's a big one there. Just love watching you play. I have 2 daughters. They love to dance. I mean, they're high leverage moments where they've worked for months to synchronize this dance, and then they put it up one time and they get judged for it. Big moment. I want to make sure I let them know I love watching you move. I love watching you dance, and that means the good and the not so good. Also, when they get in the car, here's a cool one. If they're wearing a hat, like, have this predetermined before the game. After the game, if your hat is off in the back seat, then you're letting us know you don't want to talk about the game. You'd rather talk about, or you'd rather sit in silence, talk about movies, music, whatever. If your hat is on, you're letting us know that you still have some bones to pick with that game, and you want to chat about it and figure out what happened. The old hat method. I stole that from a guy named Duke Baxter. He's
That's
great.
a good one.
It's
That
the
is,
one. The
I
old
love
hat
that.
method, indeed. Yes. So you still, even when their hat is on, you want them starting the conversation, creating that two-way street, and you don't want to have yelled anything in game, like quick fixes in game. I find that to deteriorate a relationship between parents and kids. But a notepad is nice. And if you've jotted down, oh, they're swinging under the ball, we can work on that tomorrow. Write it down on a notepad, take some notes. And then if their hat's on in the car and they're like, what happened? You can say, well, I jotted down 5 notes. Tomorrow afternoon after school, we'll go in the backyard, we'll work on it. But I go back to my dad where the worst games I ever played, at no point was he angry at the performance. It was very, very even-keeled and relaxed, and I loved the big moments because of that. So that's not a weakness. If you can push the brakes, so to speak, and the car ride home and just listen, and maybe just turn on a really great song, that's a strength. That is a strength. No doubt about it. I will say one last thing, just personal to me. It's also really important to be vulnerable with your kids and apologize when you've overreacted. I feel like the only times my daughter and I truly connect is when I take my Superman cape off and dad becomes human, warts and all, flawed man. And when I apologize or when I let her know, she's headstrong now, strong-willed, and sometimes does not want to submit. But when she knows that I'm just human and I'm flawed and I make mistakes and I overreact and sometimes I speak in anger, those are the moments when she'll say, you know what, Dad, I could have done better.
Because
Because
we're all learning here.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Well,
wild.
I make mistakes. Oh, I'm 21 years into this, and I made 3 mistakes yesterday coaching. You have to self-reflect. You have to be willing to be vulnerable and apologize when need be. So again, that's a strength. That's not a weakness. And it took me a while to figure that out.
Let me ask you this. You've seen in your time, obviously, a lot of bad behavior. And I mean, from coaches and from parents. As a spectator, let's just say, I mean, we all have our moments, of course, but if you come across bad behavior, let's say your kid's on a team where the coach started the season strong, you thought was so encouraging, your kid's learning and thriving, but they have elements of behavior that truly, it's not what you want your kid to emulate. Do you call out that behavior? And if you do, how do you do it?
Yeah, I think praise loudly, constructively criticize quietly and privately. That goes for coaches with kids, and that goes for adults with adults. I'm going to praise you loudly for the awesome work that you do with all these awesome stories that you do. If something's going on, then I'm going to say, hey, can we go get some coffee? There's something I'd like to discuss. That's where I would go as a parent. If you've got a coach who's just not about the right things, or you can tell they are chasing trophies, there's a lot of anxiety, there's some yelling, and you can tell these kids are losing the love of the game because of this attitude that this coach has, then I highly recommend just build trust with them. number one, you've got to build trust with them first. So whether that means raising your hand and saying, hey, if you need help during practices, I would love to run one of these stations. I don't know much about the game, but I would love to help out in any way. I could rake the dirt. I could just carry water coolers, whatever you need. Build trust with that person. And then when the timing's right, if you feel like you've listened to their story, kind of figured out why are they the way they are? Probably trauma. They were probably coached that way, parented that way. Maybe they're living vicariously through their kid. They're not very happy with how their life turned out. But it's a lot of self-righteousness and just I think a lot of it is based in insecurity. So there's that insecure aspect to them. But you've got to build the trust before you drop any truth bombs. And it can't be a bomb. It's got to be hey, I'm flawed. I make mistakes all the time. Here's what I notice. I notice these kids, they respond better when there's joy, when there's positivity. If there's shaming, if there's public embarrassment, they don't respond as well. Kids play better when they're feeling joy. So that's what I notice. And for what it's worth, I'm here to help you build that culture. I don't think any coach is trying to sabotage their season or these kids' love of the game. A lot of times there's just so many things going on in a coach's brain that they lose sight of the most important things. And if winning is way up there on the priority list, then they're going to miss out on a lot of things. Kids being bullied, parents bullying umpires. As that toxicity starts to seep in, they're not keeping track of it because they're focused on other less important things. So is winning important in youth sports? Sure. Is it the most important thing? Not even close. Prioritize joy, character development, skill development, and the win becomes a byproduct. And that's the case all the way at the top. You ask Dodgers manager Dave Roberts why they won the World Series last year. He's not going to say talent. He's not going to say skills. He's going to say character. The character of that clubhouse, they had each other's back. They were great teammates. They were good people. That's how you win at the highest level. Why wouldn't you win like that at the youngest level?
Oh man, so many nuggets here, so many great gems of advice. Again, I encourage you, James, to record this and then put it on speaker in your house again, because I want to tell you, this is amazing. I actually have my son's baseball game, which we are heading to right now, and I'm going to take all of these pieces. I'm going to take that hat trick. I'm going to use that for the car ride home. I really appreciate you taking the time with us and building the positivity around sport. It's so important, whatever level. I mean, we're talking at sometimes the competitive level, but sport is sport. And again, it is about fun, and it's more than just what happens on the field. And so thank you for breaking it down, and thank you for bringing the joy.
Honored. Well, you tapped into my love language of words of affirmation right away, which is coaching 101, right? Meet the kid on their playing field. How do they respond? So I'm gonna be jumping around today because of that. Appreciate you.
And that was The Big Story. You can send us feedback on this episode or any other episode. You can email us at hello@thebigstorypodcast.ca. As always, you can find us on the Seeker app or on all of your favorite podcast players. Don't forget to rate, review, follow, and of course, share. I'm Melanie Ng. Thank you so much for listening.
With McValue at McDonald's, you don't just get deals on the drinks. You get deals on McDonald's drinks. So when you're breaking a sweat, embrace the chill without breaking the bank. And when your crew is running on empty, keep your wallet full while refreshing the squad.
Ace the vibe check with drinks like lemonade, frozen Fanta Blue Raspberry, or any size drink for just $1.49. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.